All right, today we're jumping into something that, if you're a serious trader, you know all too well. It's a kind of pain that has nothing to do with the size of the loss. In fact, it's something much, much deeper. I'm talking about that moment. You know the one. You've done everything by the book. You followed your plan to the letter, managed your risk perfectly, waited for that A-plus setup, and bam, the market just turns against you. You weren't emotional, you didn't chase anything, you literally did everything right, and you still lost. It's just infuriating, right? And it can feel incredibly lonely. So why does this kind of loss sting so much more than any other? And why is it this weird, misunderstood rite of passage for every trader? Well, that's what we're going to unpack today. We're going to look right into that moment where your perfect execution slams headfirst into pure randomness, and it feels like you're being punished for your patience. Okay, first things first. Let's get one thing straight. This is not about making a mistake. This isn't a sloppy trade. We're talking about losing the right way. Yeah, you heard me. Your execution was perfect, absolutely flawless. But the result? Negative. And understanding that difference, that's everything. Just look at this list. I mean, come on, it's the poster child for professional discipline, right? You followed the plan, you managed the risk, you were patient, you controlled every single thing that you possibly could. But that last part, the outcome? Nope. That was never in your hands. And that disconnect, that's where the pain comes from. It's the feeling of doing your job perfectly and getting a failing grade. And this is where it gets really dangerous, because a loss like this, it doesn't just hit your account balance. It makes you start to question everything. Is my strategy broken? Am I not as disciplined as I thought? Can I even do this? It's not about the money anymore. It's a direct hit on your confidence, on the very foundation you've been trying to build. So to really get why this hurts so bad, we have to zoom out a bit. We need to look at this huge conflict between how we're taught the world works and the cold, hard reality of the market. It all comes down to one thing: effort versus randomness. Okay, so here's the real problem, right? Our whole lives, society drills one simple equation into our heads. Hard work equals results, period. You study hard, you get good grades. You practice, you get better at sports. But the market, it just rips up that rule book. The market says your right process doesn't guarantee you anything, except a probability. Your absolute best effort can be slapped with a loss. And that just feels wrong. It's unfair, because it breaks a fundamental rule we've trusted forever. Which brings us to this massive truth bomb. The market doesn't care how hard you worked. It's not your teacher grading your homework. It's just a giant machine of chaos and probability. It has no idea you were disciplined. And really, truly letting that sink in, that's the first huge step to becoming a master of your own trading psychology. So if the way we're wired to think is completely wrong for the market, what's the fix? How are we supposed to think? Well, there's a really powerful mental model we can borrow. We need to start thinking like the casino. This is the professional mindset. But before we do that, we have to get super clear on what a trading edge actually is. It is not a magic crystal ball that predicts every winner. It's nothing more than a statistical advantage, a tiny lean in your favor that only shows up over a huge number of trades. And that's the most important part, over a large series of trades. And this is where you see the difference in real time. The amateur trader is on an emotional roller coaster with every single trade. They're desperate for that immediate win to feel good. The casino? They couldn't care less if a high roller wins a few hands in a row. Why? Because they're not thinking about the next hand, they're thinking about the next 1,000 hands. They know the math is on their side. Losses aren't personal failures, they're just the cost of doing business, an operating expense. Now, when a trader doesn't have this casino mindset, they get sucked into this vicious cycle of doubt. It starts with one of those disciplined losses we talked about. It hurts. So what do? They start second-guessing their entire system. To stop the pain, they start tweaking things. I'll just move my stop a little wider, or I'll get in a bit earlier next time. And before they know it, poof, they've just completely nuked the statistical edge they worked so hard to find. And this really gets to the heart of it all. This whole painful experience, it's not a test of how well you can read a chart. It's not a test of your technical skills. It's something much, much deeper. This is the final exam. The market is basically asking you one question. Do you still believe in your process even when it's not giving you a reward right now? Can you hold on to your faith in your edge when you're in the middle of a totally normal but painful losing streak? Most traders fail this test, and it's not because they lack skill. It's because their belief breaks. Let's break this down really simply. Imagine your edge is like a special coin weighted to land on heads 60% of the time. You have a clear, undeniable advantage. But could you flip that coin 10 times and get tails 6 or 7 times? Of course you could. That's just short-term randomness. A pro gets that. The amateur, they panic and think the coin is broken.
So we have to completely reframe what's happening here. When you take a disciplined loss, the market isn't punishing you. It's preparing you. It's forging you. This is the friction you need to sharpen your discipline, to harden your patience, and to build that unshakable trust in your own process. And this is a fundamental rule you have to burn into your brain. Your trading plan is not there to make you feel good after every single trade. Its one and only job is to protect you, to keep you in the game long enough for your statistical edge to finally show up. And when you finally pass that test of belief, something incredible happens. A real transformation. You finally achieve the thing that every trader is really after: mastery over yourself, not some illusion of mastery over the market.
I mean, just look at the difference. The reactive trader is always chasing the money. The professional, they're just following their process. The amateur has this deep need to be right. The pro just needs to be disciplined. For one, a loss is an emotional crisis. For the other, it's just a piece of data you log in a spreadsheet and move on. We're not just talking about a different mindset here. It's like they're playing two completely different games. And that means you start using a totally new scorecard. You have to completely redefine what a win even is. A win isn't the P&L on one trade anymore. No. A win is executing your plan perfectly. A win is staying disciplined, even when you lose. A win is just trusting your process no matter what the outcome is. And that's the breakthrough moment. The second you stop needing the market to give you that instant pat on the back, the second you can feel satisfied just by executing your plan flawlessly, that's when you've crossed over. You've started thinking like a pro. You finally realized that control was never, ever about predicting what the market was going to do. It was always about controlling how you respond to it. The market can do whatever it wants. It can be completely chaotic, and it doesn't matter, because you will move with intention. So look, if you're feeling that sting right now, that feeling of doing everything right and still losing, just remember this: you are not failing. You're not moving backward. You are right in the middle of the most important transformation you will ever make as a trader. You're being forged. Because in the end, it's never really about your system or your charts. The market is just a giant mirror, and it's testing you. It's testing your belief. So the real question isn't, does my system work? The real question is, do I have the conviction to execute my system even when it's hard? Are you ready to pass that test?